gets political, I can completely understand why the Badger Trusts will take a stance of here, and this is our stance. But is there any other points of common ground, other points of agreement between yourselves and those promoting a cull? Can you see any, or is it always and forever going to be diametrically opposed?
You know, I get farmers who contact me regularly and speak to me who are deeply opposed to the cull policy, not necessarily because they believe every badger should be protected, but because they believe it's a distraction from dealing with the real problem they have in their cattle lands. You know, we've spent up to last year taxpayers' money around £25 million killing just under 4,000 badgers, which I think works out nearly £6,000 per head. That's ludicrous. It's not sustainable from a public purse perspective. We do need to help farmers get on top of bovine TB. You know, if you'd have taken that £25 million and given them access to gamma interferon blood tests, for example, to use alongside the skin test, and I was really good to see that Tom Heap, because I've been badgering him for a long time to say get on top of this, and Countryfile did a really good piece on it last week. You know, farmers have been telling me for a long period of time that, you know, they're not happy because they know that when vets come in, the skin test is not accurate. On average, 1 in 4 cows could stay in the herd with the disease, stomping it out. There's no such thing as a closed herd to stop that happening. They know there are ways of achieving better results in testing, and they know the Welsh Assembly government have been basically giving money to farmers to get access free of charge to gamma interferon, whereas in England they've not, because the government have been spending it on culling badgers. So you don't have to be an Einstein to work out that might not be a good use of a limited resource to get on top of the problem, and farmers tell me that. So I think, you know, part of this is to say, how do you use money most effectively to get on top of a disease, to help farmers, because it's a big social economic problem. And no one needs to tell me about that, because I've worked in farming and agriculture for a lot of my career, and I do sympathise with farmers on this. I'm not as hardline as some might be in this debate, who feel that actually farmers have nothing positive to say about this and it's all just about the badger, we have to deal with it. But I do believe this is a dangerous distraction in terms of resources. The other thing is it's bloody cruel, okay? The free shooting of badgers is disgusting. The independent expert panel the government put in 2013 found that over 5 to 10% of these animals maybe took 5, 10, 15 minutes to die, dragged themselves away of blood loss and organ failure. That shouldn't be happening. The British Veterinary Association sat on the fence for 2 years, but finally, through their deliberations, came to the same conclusion: it was cruel and it shouldn't be happening.
So I have to say, I don't think anybody needs...
But it still is being done, and I think that's the problem. So it's not just a waste of money, it's actually a very cruel policy that's being done, and it's not helping farmers. And I think that's probably the tragedy of this, is that if I thought that this was helping farmers deal with the disease, there could be some logic behind it, but I just don't see.
So there we go. So that's the common ground.
It is the common ground. And farmers do talk to me about that. They do believe in that. There isn't a consensus here. What you often get in this debate is a view that it's them and us. But there's more than that. There are many farmers who believe there's better ways of dealing with this, but there's an awful lot of peer pressure on them to keep quiet, to go along maybe with the view of their local farming community. And I can understand being a farmer is difficult, particularly a livestock and dairy farmer. Being in an isolated community, speaking out on this issue. There's a lady who's been speaking out against badger culling that had a dead deer put on her doorstep the other day. You know, that intimidation goes on. The farmers have to put up with it as well. That's a shame, and that shouldn't be happening.
So I've been